right about with prudent fiscal management and the principle of justice and equal access to justice.
I call Maturia Ture.
Thank you, Mr Speaker. I too just want to stand in opposition to this bill, and I support the comments that have been made by opposition parties today opposing this legislation. It does really make you wonder just how much money does the national government want to suck out of the poor? How much do they really want to keep sucking out of the services to those who have the least, so that they can keep shoveling it in great bucket loads to those who have the most? Because that is what this bill does, along with a whole range of other National Party policies, just shoveling money into the coffers of the wealthy and taking it from those who need it most. And this is just one more example of that policy, of that unfairness, of that meanness from this government. Mr Speaker, I heard some of the government spokespeople speaking about this bill. And yes, it is true that I agree with others that really they've taken a financial approach to this as opposed to one about access to justice. And it does interfere with a major part, in fact a core part of the social contract that New Zealanders, that the community, that citizens have with the arm of the state. And I was a bit disturbed to hear one National MP, I don't know who it was, which of them it was, talking about how hard-earned taxpayer dollars is well spent. They're concerned that hard-earned taxpayer dollars are well spent. We've also heard tonight exactly what that means when it comes to denying justice to those who are entitled to it. And what it means is shifting the cost so it doesn't turn up on the government books in this form. It simply turns up on government books in other forms. And what are those other forms? I'll tell you, those other forms will be the costs to women who are trying to get safe from domestic violence instances, for example, where they're not in a position to declare that in the family court. So the family court legislation changes that are coming will actually undermine their ability to be safe. They won't be in a position to declare it, so therefore they won't be able to get access to legal aid in order to support their claims. And what will happen to them? We know what happens to them. We see the statistics of domestic violence in this country every day, and that's where some of the cost will be borne, on the bodies of women and children who will bear the bruises because they are unable to escape dangerous situations, because this government is taking away from them the ability to escape those situations, because they will not have the legal representation they need to be able to get away from those kinds of situations and to protect themselves in the process. That's where some of the costs will be borne. There'll be other costs borne in other places. You know, there's a cost going to be borne in the jails. We're going to see the costs reflected in corrections. It costs more than $90,000 a year to keep a person in jail. When I was talking to lawyers about this bill when it first came to the House, and I was talking to one lawyer who has a range of clients, and they are difficult clients. They are often in trouble with the law. They have very few resources. They have very bad education, very poor education. It's very difficult. She works with them in order to try to build up their skills so they're less likely to get into legal trouble, but they need her and her representation in court. And if they don't get it, because they won't after this legislation passes, what will happen to them? They won't be trying to get onto courses. They won't be trying to help manage their families. They won't be out there trying to get work. They will be in jail because they will not have had the representation that protects them and tries to move them away from a life of crime into a more sustainable, a more socially useful lifestyle. So just that little bit extra support that those families, those people could use by getting legal aid to have decent legal representation is simply going to cost the taxpayer and hundreds of thousands, millions and millions of dollars in corrections costs. That's what we're going to see happen. So this is not really about saving money. This is just about being mean. And it's no surprise to me at all that National would bring legislation like this to the House that is nothing but mean to the poor. Thank you, Mr Speaker.
Members, this debate is concluded. The question is that the amendments recommended by the Justice and Electoral Committee by majority be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. I'll ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 opposed.
Members, the ayes are 61, the noes are 60. The amendments are agreed to. The question is that the motion be agreed to. Those of that opinion will say aye. To the contrary, no. The ayes have it. Party votes called for. Ask the clerk for a party vote.
New Zealand National.
59 votes in favour.
New Zealand Labour.
34 votes opposed.
Green Party.
14 votes opposed.
New Zealand First.
7 votes opposed.
Māori Party.
3 votes opposed.
Mana.
1 opposed.
Act New Zealand.
1 in favour.
United Future.
1 in favour.
Brendan Horan.
1 opposed.
Members, the ayes are 61, the noes are 60. The motion is agreed to.
Legal Assistance Amendment Bill, second reading.
This bill is set down for committee stage next sitting day. Call on Government Order of the Day number 7.